Oval Commodore. Dick Johnson just ahead of him. Sandwiched in between them, Johnny Goss. And look who's lurking there in the background. Jim Richards, the Australian champion, and number 1, the JPS BMW. And they've got some traffic capers happening here as they come up on a couple of the slower cars. The straight line speed. We've got the Jag pulling out on Johnson and the JPS BMW making a run at Brock as they come down now towards the braking area.
I've also heard a report, Mike, that Charlie O'Brien, bumper-to-bumper BMW, has been in for a brake pad change early in the race.
Car 37, Brian Callahan's Commodore, is also in the pits at the present time. So even at this early stage of the race, there are troubles aplenty for some of the teams. We see Dick Johnson pursued by John Goss, then Peter Brock, Jim Richards, along pit straight across the start-finish line again with 8 laps completed in the great race of 85.
The James Hardy 1000 continues, and Super Scott Tommy Walkinshaw leads. Back at Mount Panorama, this great scrap continues between Dick Johnson in 17, John Goss in the 10 car, Peter Brock in 05, and Jimmy Richards in number 1. And they have really been at it since the opening lap.
Noticing there the Barry Rath, Wayne Park entry from Queensland with hand in the air as the field went by. And we also saw before the Scotty Taylor, Kevin Kennedy car, I think, with some smoke coming out the back.
Those guys hold a record, you know. This is their 9th successive year. They've partnered each other, Taylor and Kennedy, at Mount Panorama. There goes John Goss, Dick Johnson. Robbie Francevic's got a pretty good gap on these cars now. He's holding down second spot with safety, and Tom Walkinshaw in the lead Jaguar car number 8 is not even in sight. Johnson, Brock, Richards in the black BMW, Rice up ahead of them. 4-way tussle here for third, 4th, 5th and 6th spots on the racetrack. The Bob Jane T-Mart's car, 21, the BMW with Roberto Ravaglia at the wheel, is holding down 7th spot at this stage, not far adrift of this 4-way battle. And then comes the number 3 car from New Zealand, the BMW driven by Kent Bagent. Could be a surprise runner, I think, as this race winds down. Off Skyline, Johnson, Brock, Richards trying to hold the number 10 Jag, but down Conrod Straight as they head down towards Forest Elbow now to line up for the big straight here. It's going to be a difficult job keeping onto Goss's tailpipe. In fact, he's already given them a slip. Tumbling down the mountain under our camera mounted over the track. There goes Goss. Slower car whips through, followed by Johnson, Brock and Richards, and the track behind them is empty for the moment.
Coming down towards the end of Conrod Straight, and might be timely now to check out how they're running on the racetrack, the top 5 in the James Hardy 1000. Outright after 9 laps, Tom Walkinshaw. These are all obviously on the same lap. 55 is Robbie Francevic, then John Goss. In 4th place is Dick Johnson in car number 17. Behind him, Peter Brock in 05.
Just checking the gap between Walkinshaw and Robbie Francevic in the Volvo, and it continues to increase now, 11.2 seconds. You'll recall the last time I put the watch on, it was 4.5 seconds.
And the gap between Francevic and Dick Johnson must be almost as great.
Watching Peter Brock's Commodore here, it seems to be just a little unstable in the parts of the course where the car gets light. It had a bit of a wobble coming down Conrod before, and it did just the same then on Mountain Straight. This is the shot from race cam out the back window of car 17, the Mustang, looking at the 05 Commodore, the Mobile Holden Dealer Team car of Peter Brock. Johnson circulating in 2:26.9. So with full fuel and new tyres, they're around about 3 and 4 seconds away from their qualifying pace. Commodore getting close to the back of the Mustang here across the top as they round up the Ken Matthews Commodore. And news comes through that the Laurie Nelson Mustang has been pushed into the pit lane.
And also the Brian Callahan Barry Graham Commodore V8 has also been to the pits for an unscheduled pit stop, but has gone back onto the racetrack.
Brock that time through McPhillamy, getting the Commodore very sideways and working the tyres hard as Richards continues to push past Lester Smurden from Queensland. The boys on the hill enjoying every moment of Johnson's performance.
Walkinshaw may have a clear lead in the race. Francevic may be clearly second, but the local fans, of course, have got their eyes on this three-way dice at the moment for fourth spot between Johnson, Brock and Richards. Three men who figured so prominently all season in touring car racing right throughout Australia.
Very surprised at the form of Brock. Come right up onto the back of Johnson.
So Dick Johnson, Peter Brock 0-5 and Jimmy Richards continue their great scrap. It's been going on, as I said before, since the race started. They're sprinting out nicely. Goss has got away from them. In fact, Goss getting up on the tail of Robbie Francevic.
Goss back to Johnson is now 4.9 seconds. Here's Johnson. The Mustang sounding very, very good. You can see Richards there just on the right of screen, just barely catching the left-hand side of the car. Trying to get into the slipstream of the Commodore. Johnson covers his ground past the Arrrgh 7.
Surprises me, Neil, even at this stage, that allowing for the weight, obviously, but that Richards hasn't been able to get by Peter Brock. Perhaps he's playing to a game. We expect the Walkinshaw Jag in round about lap 30. The Commodore of Peter Brock's round about lap 40, and the BMW in about lap 55.
Oh, goodness me. The pickup truck is on its way up the mountain. I hope nobody picks up the truck.
Heading through Toledo Corner. This is all getting very interesting, isn't it?
Richards pushing hard, you know. I think he might have a go here at Brock any minute.
Yep. Richards is the flyer of the pack here as he gets onto the inside now of Brock, side by side at Skyline, and he gets him. What a manoeuvre.
Very brave manoeuvre, but here a wave to acknowledge that Brock gave him racing room. Johnson through the dipper. Richards has improved by 1 spot, and Brock back one.